Ambassador Mina Park stood before the mirror in her quarters aboard the Earth vessel Harmony. She straightened the silver pins on her midnight blue uniform and took a deep breath. Today would determine humanity's future among the stars. Ambassador, we're approaching the Conclave station, said her aide. Mina nodded. Final briefing? 27 species will be present. The Ryul hold the most influence, followed by the Terok and Veldari. Our intelligence suggests the Veldari might support our petition. The Harmony docked with gentle precision. Through the viewport, Mina saw the massive ring-shaped station hanging against the backdrop of a blue-green gas giant. The station's architecture blended different alien styles, crystalline structures next to metallic domes, and organic-looking curved segments. "Ready?" Sung asked. "As I'll ever be," Mina replied. They walked through gleaming corridors escorted by tall, blue-skinned conclave guards. Aliens of various shapes and sizes moved through the halls. Some had too many limbs, others none at all. Some floated in special environment suits, while others clicked and hummed as they communicated. Commander Jun Kim was already at the observation deck, his stern face betraying no emotion. He nodded respectfully as Mina approached. "Commander," she greeted him. "They've given us minimal courtesy seating," he said quietly. And the Ryul representative asked 3 times if humans needed simplified translation devices. Mina smiled thinly. "Let them underestimate us." The conclave chamber was enormous. A central platform stood surrounded by rising tiers of seats filled with representatives from across the galaxy. Some species needed special accommodations, water tanks, methane environments, or gravity adjustments. From his position, June watched through enhanced lenses. He focused on the Ryul delegation, tall, four-armed beings with iridescent scales and elongated heads. They sat near the equally imposing Terok, whose rock-like skin and glowing eyes gave them a menacing appearance. The Ryul representative made a subtle hand gesture. The nearest Terok tapped a sequence on his communication device. June frowned and activated his secure comm. "Harmony, log and analyze interaction between Ryul Ambassador Seat 17 and Terok Delegate Seat 42, the chamber." Quieted as the session announcer, a small hovering drone chimed 3 times. "The Galactic Conclave recognizes Ambassador Mina Park of Earth," announced a melodious artificial voice. Mina walked steadily to the central platform. The gravity was slightly stronger than Earth standard, but she'd trained for this. She felt hundreds of alien eyes, and other sensory organs, focused entirely on her. "Distinguished delegates of the Galactic Conclave," she began, her voice clear and confident. "Earth comes seeking peaceful recognition and mutual cooperation." From the highest tier, a Ryul representative interrupted. "The Council recognizes that humans have achieved limited space travel capabilities only recently. Perhaps the ambassador would benefit from simplified protocols." Several species made sounds that Mina's translator interpreted as laughter. "Thank you for your concern," Mina replied smoothly. "But I believe Earth's achievements speak for themselves. In just 50 years since first contact, we have mastered faster-than-light travel, established colonies on 17 worlds, and developed trade relationships with 6 of your member species." She activated her presentation, and holographic images appeared above the platform. Earth ships, colonies, and technological achievements. "We seek formal recognition not as supplicants, but as equals," she continued. "Earth offers unique perspectives and innovations that would benefit the Conclave." In his observation post, June noticed more signals passing between the Ryul and Terok. His comm unit buzzed with an alert from Harmony's analysis system. "Warning, encoded communication detected." June shifted his position to get a better view of the Terok delegate, who was now passing something to a multi-limbed assistant. Mina continued her presentation, outlining Earth's request for trading rights and protection against border incursions that had increased over the past year. "Humanity comes in peace, but we have the right to security," she stated firmly. "Recent attacks in the Proxima sector have claimed 37 human lives." The Ryul representative stood. Perhaps if humans had not expanded so aggressively, such unfortunate incidents would not occur. June's eyes narrowed as he watched the real's upper hands form a pattern that didn't match his spoken words. He sent another alert to Harmony's security team. As Mina prepared to respond to the accusation, she caught June's warning signal from the corner of her eye. Something was wrong, but she couldn't show weakness now, not with Earth's future at stake. "We define aggressive expansion differently," she replied calmly. "Earth has settled only unclaimed worlds, following all published conclave protocols." The tension in the room was palpable as Mina stood tall, a single human facing the judgment. Of the galaxy, Mina's private meeting chamber aboard the Harmony felt like the only safe place on the entire conclave station. The walls had been swept for listening devices 3 times that morning. She paced back and forth, studying the proposals she would present at tomorrow's session. A soft chime announced a visitor. The door slid open to reveal a slender figure with pale blue skin and large almond-shaped eyes. Hana, a junior diplomatic aide from the Veldari delegation. "You shouldn't be here," Mina said, but stepped aside to let the alien enter. Hana glanced nervously at the corridor before hurrying inside. Her translucent fingers trembled slightly as she adjusted her formal robes. "I risk much to speak with you," Hana said, her voice melodic despite the translator. "My people do not all share the views of our official representatives." Mina offered her a seat. "I appreciate any insights you can provide." Hana leaned forward. "They're lying to you," she warned. "The military faction plans to block Earth regardless of your presentation. The Riul and Terok formed an alliance 3 cycles ago. They fear human expansion. But our proposal follows all conclave guidelines," Mina protested. "We're offering fair trade terms." "It is not about trade," Hana replied. "It is about fear. Your species adapts too quickly. What took 1,000 years, humans accomplished in less than a century." Mina sighed and activated her secure tablet. The 3-dimensional trade projections hovered above its surface, detailed analyses of how human goods could benefit the conclave economies. "The numbers are clear," Mina said, pointing to the projections. "Humanity has much to offer, if only." The conclave would see past their prejudice. "Numbers will not sway those who have already decided," Hana responded. "The military faction has gathered 17 votes against you. They need only 3 more to block Earth's petition." Mina's face remained composed, but her mind raced. 17 votes meant Earth's application was in serious trouble. "What do they hope to gain by excluding us?" she asked. Hana hesitated. "There is something else. Something I discovered by accident." She pulled out a small crystal data key. "This contains access codes to restricted archives. Information not meant for junior aides or human ambassadors." Mina took the crystal, her expression grave. "Why help us? Your position, your safety, the Veldari are merchants," Hana interrupted. "We survive by recognizing opportunity and building relationships. Some of us believe humans are the future. I am investing in that future." After Hana left, Mina inserted the crystal into her tablet. Layers of encrypted data appeared. Most in formats her system struggled to translate. But among the files, one folder stood out, labeled with the universal symbol for biological hazards, and a code that her translator rendered as human containment. Hours. Later, her eyes burned from reading document after document. What she found chilled her to the core. She activated her secure communication link to Commander Kim. "Commander, I'm sending you files I discovered in the restricted archives," Mina transmitted, her voice tense. "Evidence of bioweapons designed specifically for human physiology." In his quarters, June received the encrypted transmission with growing alarm. The technical specifications were beyond his expertise, but the intent was clear. Detailed studies of human immune responses, genetic vulnerabilities, and airborne delivery systems. "Confirmed receipt, Ambassador," he responded. "How did you obtain this?" "A friendly source," Mina said. "The military faction isn't just blocking our petition, they're preparing for possible conflict." June studied the most disturbing document. Test. Results showing the effectiveness of the pathogen against human tissue samples. "These are active war-level preparations," he said grimly. "There's more," Mina continued. "Check the authorization signatures. the Ryul Defense Minister, and 3 Conclave Security Council members approved this research. June felt cold anger rising. "We need to alert Earth immediately." "Not yet," Mina cautioned. "If we reveal what we know without proper evidence, they'll dismiss it as human paranoia. I need to find a way to present this to the full conclave, not just the military-dominated committees." "It's too dangerous," June argued. "They could move against you if they discover you have this information." Mina looked around her supposedly secure room, suddenly feeling exposed. "I'm attending a reception tonight with representatives from the neutral factions. The Veldari Prime Minister will be there. If I can convince him to support an emergency session..." "You're taking an enormous risk," June warned. Mina's face hardened with determination. "They're developing weapons to kill our people, Commander. Risk is now part of the job." As she prepared for the evening reception, Mina carefully copied the most damning evidence to a hidden compartment in her formal jewelry. Outside her window, the gas giant's swirling clouds seemed to mirror the political currents threatening to sweep humanity aside. She would need all her diplomatic skills tonight, and perhaps a bit of luck as well. Remember, to use simple and basic English for this creative writing task, keeping it in third-person style as requested. Focus on creating an interesting 750-word continuation of the story, based on the prompt. Mina woke to the harsh sound of her chamber door sliding open. 4 conclave security officers entered, tall beings with grey skin and facial ridges. They wore the black and silver uniforms of the elite guard. "Ambassador Park, you will come with us," the lead officer stated flatly. Mina blinked sleep from her eyes. "What is the meaning of this?" "It's the middle of the sleep cycle. Emergency session of the Security Council. Your presence is required." A sense of dread filled her. "I need to contact Commander Kim." "No communications at this time," the officer replied. "Council orders." They escorted her through dimly lit corridors. The station felt empty at this hour, with only occasional maintenance workers visible. Mina noticed they weren't taking the route to the main council chambers. "Where are we going?" she asked. "Security Council meets in the High Chamber during emergencies." The High Chamber was smaller than the main hall, with only 40 seats arranged in a tight semicircle. As Mina entered, she saw it was already filled with representatives, but only from certain species. The Ryul, the Terok, and their closest allies dominated the room. The Veldari seats were empty. High Adjudicator Morks, a massive Ryul with distinctive red scale patterns, sat at the center. His 4 arms were folded in what Mina recognized as a formal judicial pose. "The emergency session is now in order," Morks announced, his voice carrying through the chamber without need for amplification. Mina was led to a small platform in the center. No chair, no information terminal, nothing that would aid in her defense. "Ambassador Park, you stand accused of bringing forbidden pathogens into conclave space," announced High Adjudicator Morks. "This council has convened to determine your punishment." Mina felt as if the floor had dropped away beneath her. "What? This is absurd." Morks gestured, and holographic displays appeared around the chamber. They showed what appeared to be security scans of Mina's quarters, with bright red highlights indicating dangerous materials. "These scans, taken 6 hours ago, show clear evidence of Type 7 biological agents in your personal quarters," Morks continued. "Further analysis confirms these agents are specifically harmful to Ryul physiology." Mina stood stunned as the fabricated evidence appeared in greater detail on the chamber's holographic displays. They had even created false molecular structures and containment vessels that supposedly came from her room. "This is a lie," she said firmly. "I demand my right to present counter-evidence. I demand communication with Earth. This is a violation of diplomatic protocol." Murmurs spread through the chamber. A Terok representative stood. "The human claims innocence as expected," he rumbled. "Yet our security systems cannot be fooled. The question is not guilt, but intent. Was this an assassination attempt or merely incompetence with dangerous materials?" Mina recognized the trap. Either answer would condemn her. "I reject the premise of the question," she replied. "No such pathogens exist in my quarters or in any Earth possession. This evidence has been falsified." "Serious accusations," Morks said coldly. "Do you have proof of this claim?" I would if you allowed me access to Earth communications or permitted my security team to conduct independent scans, Mina countered. Impossible during a biological containment emergency, Morks replied smoothly. For the safety of the Conclave, all potentially contaminated systems must remain isolated. Mina looked around the chamber, searching for any sympathetic faces. She found none. Where are the Veldari representatives? She demanded. Where are the Nemeri? This council is not properly constituted without all security members present. Those unable to attend were informed but chose not to respond at this hour, Mork stated. Their absence does not invalidate these proceedings under Emergency Protocol 5. A sinking feeling grew in Mina's stomach. This had been carefully planned, called in the middle of the night, with only hostile species present, using emergency protocols to bypass normal safeguards. The Council will now vote on the appropriate response to this violation of our most sacred biological safety laws, Morks announced. A silent voting system activated. Within seconds, the results appeared on the main display. The vote was swift and unanimous among the ruling faction. No abstentions, no dissent. Ambassador Mina Park of Earth, you have been found guilty of bringing Level 7 biological weapons into Conclave space. A crime punishable by immediate death under Conclave security. Resolution 115, Morks declared. Execution to be carried out immediately. 2 guards stepped forward, weapons drawn. This is an act of war against Earth, Mina said, her voice steady despite her racing heart. My government will not— Your government will be informed that you are found with prohibited substances and dealt with according to our laws, Morks interrupted. Her tragic diplomatic incident, nothing more. As the guards approached, Mina pressed her hand against her chest, where a small quantum transmitter, standard for all Earth diplomats, continued broadcasting her vital signs and audio feed directly to Earth Command, 70 light-years away but connected through quantum entanglement. Earth would know the truth. Earth would hear everything, and Earth would respond. The Quantum Monitoring Center, buried 3 kilometers beneath the Rocky Mountains, never slept. Technicians worked in rotating shifts, monitoring the vital signs and communication feeds of every Earth diplomat across the galaxy. It was a quiet job, mostly routine, until it wasn't. Lieutenant Min sat at her station sipping coffee as she reviewed Ambassador Park's biometric data. Everything looked normal, heart rate slightly elevated, but that was expected during tense negotiations. The audio feed from the quantum transmitter embedded near Mina's heart had been clear during the emergency council session. Min's console suddenly flashed red. Ambassador Park's heart rate spiked, then dropped rapidly. "Captain," Min called out. "Ambassador Park's vitals are crashing." Captain Wei rushed over. They listened to the final audio transmission. "Dealt with according to our laws." Then a single gasp. Then silence. The vital sign monitors flatlined. "Run full diagnostic," Wei ordered. "Could be equipment failure." Min's fingers flew across her console, initiating every possible test of the quantum link. "Link is stable. No malfunction detected. Running secondary verification." The captain grabbed a secure phone. "This is Captain Wei, Diplomatic Emergency Protocol. Patch me through to Defense Command." Authorization Wei 7 Delta 9. Across the continent, in Earth's Defense Command Center in Washington, alarms blared as Mina's vital signs flatlined on the main display screen. The room erupted into controlled chaos as officers rushed to stations. Admiral E. Joe, Night Commander, immediately activated the highest alert status. "All stations, this is not a drill. Ambassador down. I repeat, Ambassador down." Within 3 minutes, the Defense Command Center was filled with the highest-ranking military officers who could respond. General Tae Lee, Commander of Earth Forces, stormed into the room, still adjusting his uniform. "Status," he barked. "Ambassador Park's vitals terminated 6 minutes ago," reported Admiral Joe. "Last audio confirms hostile action by Conclave authorities. We're running final verification now." A technician approached with a tablet. "Sir, quantum link integrity is at 100%. Brain activity, heart function, all biological markers confirm." General Tae Lee slammed his fist on the console. "Verification confirmed. Ambassador Park is dead." The room fell silent for a moment. In 50 years of space exploration, humanity, had faced hostility, skirmishes on distant borders, even small-scale conflicts. But never had an Earth ambassador been executed. The secure doors slid open again. President Su Choi entered, flanked by her security detail. Her face was grim, eyes hard with controlled fury. "Madam President," General Lee acknowledged. "Ambassador. Park was executed following a sham trial. We have the full audio." "Play it," the President ordered. The room listened in silence to Mina's final minutes. When it ended, nobody spoke for several seconds. President Su Choi's expression hardened. "They've made their choice. Initiate Protocol Nemesis." General Lee hesitated for just a moment. Protocol Nemesis had been created 10 years ago, but no one had ever expected to use it. "Madam President, once initiated, we cannot recall. They executed our ambassador after a mock trial based on falsified evidence." President Choi cut him off. "This wasn't a misunderstanding or a border incident. This was a deliberate act against Earth by the Conclave leadership." She looked around the room, meeting the eyes of every senior officer. "We hoped for peace. We prepared for war. That is why Nemesis exists. The Conclave believes we are weak. They have miscalculated." General Lee nodded and entered his authorization code. Initiating Protocol Nemesis. Across the room, officers removed security locks from previously sealed command terminals. Screens lit up with classified information that even most senior commanders had never seen. "Alpha Team, secure link to Aurora Fleet," ordered Lee. A young officer stared at her screen in disbelief. "Sir, I'm showing 57 vessels responding to activation codes." "That's impossible. Our official fleet is only 20 ships." "Not impossible, Lieutenant," Lee replied. "Classified." On the main display, a strategic map appeared, showing Earth and the Conclave homeworlds. Dozens of blue dots appeared throughout. "Conclave space." "My God," whispered Admiral Joe, "we have ships in position already." "Stealth vessels," confirmed General Lee. "Positioned over the past 5 years, dormant until needed." President Choi addressed the room. "What happens next is not vengeance, it is justice. We will strike only those directly responsible for this act. Civilians will be spared. Infrastructure will be preserved. But the Conclave will learn that humanity cannot be judged unfairly, cannot be executed without consequence, and cannot be underestimated." She turned to General Lee. "You have tactical command, General. The target list is pre-approved. Minimal casualties, maximum impact." Lee nodded and faced the operations team. "Transmit activation codes to all Nemesis units, primary targets only. Rules of engagement. Military and political assets of species who voted for execution. No civilian targets. Across the vast distance of space, quantum-entangled signals traveled instantly to ships that officially didn't exist. Crews who had waited years for orders they hoped would never come powered up advanced weapons systems." Earth's response was about to begin. The trading vessel Northern Star looked like any other human merchant ship that traveled through Conclave space. Its hull showed minor wear from years of service. Its registry listed it as a mineral transport operating between the human colony on Proxima B and various Conclave worlds. For 3 years, it had followed predictable routes carrying unremarkable cargo, crewed by forgettable humans who kept to themselves at spaceports. None of this was accidental. Captain Dae Yoon sat in his quarters, reviewing shipping manifests. When his private terminal chimed with an incoming transmission, the screen displayed a simple message: "Nemesis active." His heart skipped a beat. The code they had trained for but hoped never to receive. Day pressed his palm against the security scanner hidden beneath his desk. The room's lighting shifted to a dim red, and a hidden panel slid open in the wall, revealing a military command console. "Computer, activate command protocols. Authorization UNECO 794. "Identity confirmed," the ship's AI responded, its voice changing from the friendly female tone of a commercial vessel to a crisp, professional military cadence. "Nemesis protocols. Online." Day opened the shipwide communication channel. "All personnel, this is the captain. Protocol Nemesis is active. This is not a drill. Report to battle stations. Transformation sequence begins in 60 seconds. Throughout the ship, crew members abandoned their civilian pretenses. Engineering crews removed false panels, revealing advanced military hardware hidden beneath. Navigation officers locked down civilian systems and activated military-grade positioning. Say technology. In the cargo hold, what appeared to be shipping containers split open to reveal missile systems and energy weapons. The Northern Star's outer hull began to change. Sections rotated, revealing hidden weapon ports. Sensor-absorbing material unfolded, covering the ship's original paint scheme with a dark, non-reflective surface. Similar transformations were happening throughout Conclave space. The Peaceful Trader near the Ryul homeworld, the University Research Vessel orbiting the Terok moon, the Mineral Surveys ship near the Conclave Central Station, dozens of unremarkable commercial vessels suddenly transformed as hidden weapon systems came online. On the bridge of the Northern Star, now revealing its true name, Vigilant, on its command console, Captain Dae-Yoon took his place in the command. "Chair, status report," he ordered. "Transformation complete, Captain," his first officer reported. "Weapons systems online. Stealth systems at maximum effectiveness. No indication that we've been detected." Day nodded. "Our target? Royal Defense Command on our Taxis Station. Primary Conclave Military Coordination Center for this sector." The tactical officer looked up from her station. "Target is minimally defended, Captain. They're not expecting an attack. They're about to learn an important lesson about expectations," Day replied. He opened a channel to his crew. "This is not the mission we wanted. Ambassador Park was murdered by those who should have protected her. Our response must be precise and controlled. We are soldiers, not butchers." He studied the tactical display, confirming that his assigned target was isolated from civilian areas of the station. Captain Dae-Yoon's voice was steady as he addressed his crew. "Stealth systems disengaged. Target acquisition complete." Across Conclave space, 37 other captains were saying similar words to their crews. Some targeted military bases, others locked onto defense platforms or weapons research facilities. All were following the same strict rules of engagement: military targets only. Minimize loss of life, demonstrate power rather than inflict maximum damage. Aboard the flagship Indomitable, hidden in the shadow of a small moon near the Conclave headquarters, Admiral Jin Park reviewed the status of all vessels in the Nemesis fleet. Green indicators showed all ships in position, weapons locked on their assigned targets. The Admiral thought of Mina Park. No relation, but someone he had met during her training. Her intelligence, her commitment to peace, her belief that humanity could find its place among the stars without conflict. Her execution was not just a crime. It was a profound mistake by species who did not understand humans at all. From the flagship Indomitable, Admiral Jin Park gave the command that humanity had hoped would never be necessary. All vessels execute precision strikes, military targets only. Throughout Conclave space, humanity's hidden fleet fired as one. The Vigilant launched 4 precision missiles at our Taxis Station's Defense Command Center. The weapons moved faster than Ryul tracking systems could follow, their quantum shifted, drives making them nearly invisible until impact. On the real homeworld, orbital defense platforms suddenly exploded in perfect synchronization, leaving no time for distress calls. Around the Terok Military Academy, 3 hidden human vessels decloaked and disabled the planet's communication network with targeted electromagnetic pulses. At the Conclave headquarters itself, surgical strikes eliminated only the chambers of the Security Council that had ordered Mina's execution, leaving the rest of the massive station untouched. The coordinated attack lasted exactly 7 minutes. When it ended, the military command structure of the species responsible for Ambassador Park's death had been shattered, while civilian casualties were kept to an absolute minimum. As the Vigilant prepared to jump to its next target, Captain Day "Watch the burning remains of our Taxis Station's military wing for Ambassador Park," he said quietly. Justice delivered. Grand Coordinator Zix paced the gleaming floor of the Conclave's Military Coordination Center. The massive chamber, located in the heart of Conclave Station Alpha, buzzed with the activity of 200 military officers from 7 species. Massive holographic displays showed the positions of every Conclave vessel across 27 star systems. "Report on the human diplomatic situation," Zix demanded of his aide. "The human ambassador has been eliminated as ordered," the aide replied. "Their government has been informed it was due to a biological breach of protocol." Zix's faceplates shifted in what passed for a smile among the Raoul. "And their response?" "Nothing yet. Their ships remain in their assigned positions. No unusual communications detected." Zix nodded. Humans were predictable. They would protest through diplomatic channels, perhaps recall their other representatives, but they knew they were too weak to challenge the conclave directly. A junior officer rushed toward Zix, his forearms moving, in patterns indicating extreme distress. "Grand Coordinator, we're detecting energy spikes near Real Defense Station 6. "What kind of energy spikes?" Zix asked, irritated by the interruption. Before the officer could answer, one of the holographic displays flickered and went dark. Then another, and another. Warning signals began blaring throughout the center. The main strategic display showed red alert symbols appearing simultaneously across 7 different star systems. The Conclave's Military Coordination Center erupted in chaos. "Status report," Zix shouted above the noise. "We've lost contact with our Taxis station," an officer called. "Out. And the orbital platforms around Homeworld." "That's impossible," Zix snapped. "Those are our most heavily defended. Raoul Defense Command has gone dark," another officer interrupted. "Terok Military Academy is under attack." Zix stared in disbelief at the strategic display. Key military installations were being hit simultaneously across Conclave space, precisely, strategically, and with devastating effectiveness. "How did they get past our defenses?" demanded Fleet Commander Zix, slamming all 4 fists onto the command console. "Where did these ships come from?" The tactical officer shook her head in confusion. "Unknown, Commander. Sensors show the attacking." "Vessels appeared at their targets with no warning. They weren't detected until they opened fire." "That's impossible," Zix insisted. "No species has stealth technology that advanced." On the main screen, new alerts flashed. The command bunker on Terok Prime had been destroyed. The Raoul Fleet headquarters had gone silent. The Security Council chambers, where Ambassador Park had been executed just 30 minutes earlier, had been precisely targeted, with only that section of the massive conclave station destroyed. Before answers could be formed, precisely targeted. Strikes neutralized command centers across 7 systems. No civilian centers were touched, no residential areas damaged, no commercial vessels targeted. Only military and political targets associated with the species who had voted for the humans' execution. Zix felt a cold dread spreading through his body. "Send emergency distress calls to all available ships. Order them to converge on—" "Communications are being jammed," the communications officer interrupted. "We can't reach any vessels more than 1 light minute away." "Impossible! Our quantum communication system can't be blocked." But it was being blocked. Somehow the humans had technology far beyond what the Conclave had believed possible. At the Terok defense platform orbiting their homeworld, High Commander Gorvan watched his tactical display with growing horror. 3 human vessels, ships, that had appeared from nowhere, were systematically disabling his command. "Target the lead vessel," he ordered. "All weapons." His gunners responded instantly, firing the platform's main plasma cannons. The beams shot toward the human ship, and somehow passed right through it. "They have some kind of phase-shifting technology," his science officer said, voice shaking. "Our weapons can't touch them." On his dying ship, High Commander Gorvan watched, in disbelief, as the human vessels executed maneuvers his tacticians had deemed impossible. They moved with impossible speed, changed direction without inertial effects, appeared and disappeared from sensors at will. The humans weren't just winning, they were demonstrating technological superiority in every aspect of warfare. And yet, Gorvan noticed something even more terrifying. The human ships were being careful, precise. They destroyed military targets while avoiding civilian casualties. When they disabled a Terok cruiser, they deliberately left the life support systems intact. This wasn't blind rage. This was calculated justice. In the final moments before a precision strike destroyed his command center, Gorvan realized the magnitude of the Conclave's mistake. They had judged humans by their apparent technological level, their limited fleet, their eagerness for peace. They had executed their ambassador as a message that humans were not welcome among the stars. The humans had responded with a message of their own. They had been ready for war all along. Gorvan's last thought before his command center exploded was a simple one. We never knew them at all. 7 minutes after the first strikes, silence fell across conclave space. The precision attacks had ended as suddenly as they began. The human vessels held position near their targets, weapons still active but no longer firing. On worlds and stations throughout conclave territory, beings of all species stared at their communication screens in shock. Military installations lay in ruins. Defense platforms drifted as silent wrecks. Command centers had been reduced to debris, yet civilian areas remained untouched. Commercial ships continued their journeys undisturbed. Even on military bases, living quarters had been carefully spared. In the conclave central chamber, the representatives from species not involved in Ambassador Park's execution huddled in frightened groups. The Veldari Prime Minister, who had arrived too late to prevent the execution, stood staring at the precision hole where the Security Council chamber had been. The strike had been so precise that it removed only that room, leaving surrounding chambers intact. "How is this possible?" she whispered to her aide. "The humans have only been in space for 50 years. Before the aide could respond, every communication device throughout conclave space activated simultaneously. Video screens, audio systems, personal communicators all broadcast the same signal, overriding all security protocols. A human appeared. On the screens, he wore a dark blue uniform with silver insignia. His face was stern but calm. "This is Admiral Jin Park of Earth Defense Force." The transmission reached every corner of conclave space. "You have witnessed our response to an unjust execution." In the central chamber, representatives fell silent, staring at the screens. 6 hours ago, Ambassador Mina Park was executed following a fraudulent trial based on falsified evidence. This was not justice. This was political murder. The screen split to show footage from Mina's final moments in the Security Council chamber. The evidence against her appeared clearly manipulated when highlighted by Earth's analysis software. "For those who participated in this crime, our response has been delivered. For those who did not, we have no quarrel with you." The Veldari Prime Minister whispered to her aide. "Notice how precisely they struck. Only the guilty were targeted." The message continued, accompanied by irrefutable evidence of the conspiracy against Ambassador Park. Records of secret meetings, communications between the Ryul and Terok leadership discussing how to prevent Earth's admission to the conclave. Plans to frame the human ambassador if diplomatic measures failed. "You believed humans to be technologically primitive," Admiral Park continued. "You thought our ships few, our weapons weak, our defenses basic. This was not true, it was a choice." The screen showed images of advanced human vessels emerging from their disguises. Weapons systems unlike anything the Conclave had seen before. Defense technologies that explained why the human ships had been untouchable. Earth has maintained peace not from weakness, but from choice. We concealed our true capabilities because we wished to join the galactic community as equals, not as a threat. In his quarters on the remains of Terok Station, General Krav watched with growing horror. His entire command structure had been destroyed in minutes, yet his personal quarters and those of all other officers remained untouched. "We could have destroyed you completely," Admiral Park stated calmly. "Instead, we chose restraint. Remember this distinction when we meet to discuss terms." The Veldari Prime Minister nodded slowly. The message within the message was clear. Humans could have extracted vengeance through mass destruction, but they chose justice through precision instead. "The Conclave has existed for 3,000 years, Admiral Park continued. "In that time you have encountered many species, catalogued many civilizations, but you have never truly understood humanity." The screen displayed images of Earth, its diverse ecosystems, its varied peoples, its ancient conflicts and hard-won peace. "We are not like you. We do not seek domination. We do not crave territory. We want only what we have always wanted: fair treatment, honest dealings, and the right to exist without threat." The Admiral's face filled the screen again. In 12 hours, A new diplomatic team will arrive at Conclave Station to discuss reparations, and a new relationship between Earth and the galactic community. They will come unarmed in a single vessel. He paused, his eyes seeming to meet those of every being watching. The ship will be escorted by 50 of our vessels, all in their true form. They will remain in position until agreements are reached. In the central chamber, the representatives looked at each other nervously. This is not a threat, Admiral Park concluded. This is clarity. For 3 years, you have seen what we wanted you to see. Now you will see us as we truly are. We hope. This leads to understanding, not fear. To cooperation, not conflict. The transmission ended, leaving silence across conclave space. A silence filled with the recognition that everything had changed in a single hour. The Grand Assembly Hall of E. The conclave had been rebuilt in just 3 weeks. The new design was different, more open, with natural light streaming through crystal panels. No more shadowy corners where secret decisions could be made. No more separate chambers where powerful factions could plot without oversight. This was just one of many changes following what historians would later call the 7-Minute War. Ambassador Hyun Kang stood at the center of the hall, his posture straight and confident. Unlike Mina Park, who had stood in the same spot a month earlier, he was not asking for acceptance. He was setting terms. 50 representatives from different species watched in silence. The empty seats where the Ryul and Terok delegations once sat were a stark reminder of recent events. Their governments had not been destroyed, but their political and military leadership had been completely replaced. Earth demands representation on the High Council, insisted the new human ambassador Hyun Kang, and complete restructuring of interstellar justice protocols. He activated a holographic display showing the proposed changes, transparent trial procedures, requirements for evidence verification, rights of the accused, and mandatory representation from at least 15 species for any emergency session. Furthermore, all biological weapons research will cease immediately. Inspections teams with representatives from at least 6 neutral species will verify compliance. In the front row, the Veldari Prime Minister nodded slightly. Her species had gained considerable influence in the new order. Their long-standing calls for more open governance had finally found support. These terms are significant, said the conclave interim speaker, a Nemari whose gills fluttered with nervous energy. They are necessary, Kang replied firmly. The events leading to Ambassador Park's execution revealed fundamental flaws in conclave governance. Earth will not join a system where such injustice is possible. The interim speaker looked around the room, perhaps seeking opposition or support. The remaining conclave species, still reeling from Earth's display of power, offered little resistance. In the observation gallery, Jun Kim, who had been Commander Jun Kim before his promotion, watched the proceedings carefully. The 50 human warships still in orbit around key conclave worlds remained a powerful persuader. We have 3 options, the interim speaker finally said. Reject these terms and continue without Earth's participation, attempt negotiation for more favorable terms, or accept the proposal as presented. A murmur spread through the hall. Everyone understood the unspoken 4th option, renewed conflict with a species whose military capabilities had been severely underestimated. The Veldari Prime Minister stood, her elegant blue form drawing all eyes. May I address the assembly? The speaker nodded. We have misjudged your kind, admitted the Veldari Prime Minister, looking directly at Ambassador Kang. What we mistook for technological backwardness was deliberate concealment. She turned to face the other representatives. Consider this carefully. The humans could have destroyed our civilization. They could have bombarded our homeworlds, eliminated our leadership completely, taken our territory by force. Instead, they executed precise strikes against only those directly responsible for an injustice. The hall was silent as she continued. They now come with terms that, while demanding, primarily seek to prevent future injustice, rather than extract vengeance or resources. This speaks to their character as a species. Jun Kim nodded slightly from his observation post. The Veldari had always been the most perceptive of the conclave species. I propose we accept these terms without modification, the Prime Minister concluded. Not from fear, but from recognition that these changes will benefit all species, not just humanity. The vote was called immediately. The result was not unanimous, but the majority was overwhelming. Earth's terms were accepted. Ambassador Kang allowed himself a small smile, the first expression he had shown during the proceedings. Earth thanks the conclave for its wisdom, he said formally. We look forward to a new era of cooperation and fair governance. As the session concluded, representatives gathered in small groups, discussing the implications of the day's decisions. The galaxy's power structure had been fundamentally altered in less than a month. In a quiet corner, the Veldari Prime Minister approached Ambassador Kang. Your predecessor believed deeply in peace, she said softly. I regret I could not save her, Kang nodded. Mina Park's death was a tragedy, but her legacy will be a better galaxy for all species, including those who wronged her. Especially those, Kang replied. Humans understand the cycle of vengeance. We broke that cycle when we could have embraced it. That is the true measure of civilization. The Prime Minister's large eyes studied him carefully. Your species is a paradox, so capable of violence, yet so committed to justice. Kang smiled slightly. That, Prime Minister, is what it means to be human. The orbit of Earth's moon had never hosted such a diverse gathering. Ships from 32 different species hung against the starry backdrop, their designs as varied as the beings who created them. Crystal vessels that seemed to bend light itself, living ships grown rather than built, massive metal constructions that housed entire communities. Each had come to witness a moment of history. Between Earth and Moon, the newest vessel of humanity's fleet waited for its official commissioning. Unlike the warships that had demonstrated Earth's power a year earlier, this ship was built for diplomacy. Its sleek lines and pearlescent hull reflected sunlight in shimmering patterns. Though unarmed, its advanced technology was evident in every curve and panel. On the observation deck of the International Space Station, now expanded to serve as a diplomatic hub, representatives from across the galaxy gathered. Some needed special environment suits. Others required gravity adjustments. All had come willingly. President Su Choi stood before them, her formal white uniform gleaming under the lights. Beside her stood Admiral Jin Park, whose message had changed the course of galactic politics 1 year earlier. We gather today not to remember conflict, but to celebrate its end, President Choi began. Not to dwell on mistakes of the past, but to ensure they are never repeated. The assembled diplomats listened through their translation devices. Many nodded in agreement. 1 year ago, a terrible injustice was committed. A dedicated diplomat was executed without cause. Earth responded as we must, swiftly and precisely. She paused, looking out toward the new ship. But justice without reconciliation leads only to more conflict. True peace requires understanding. That is why today marks not just the commissioning of a vessel, but the beginning of a new approach to interstellar relations. On the main screen, the ship's specifications appeared. It contained meeting chambers designed for every known species, translation systems more advanced than any in the conclave, medical facilities that could treat any biology, and something new, dedicated cultural exchange centers where art, music, literature, and philosophy from all worlds could be shared. We name this ship the Mina Park, announced President Choi. May it carry her legacy of courage throughout the stars. A cheer rose from the human delegation. The alien representatives made their own sounds of approval, rumbling vibrations, flashing light patterns, released scents, each according to their species' customs. Captain Jun Lee stood at attention on his new bridge. Through the viewports, he could see the ceremony on the space station. In 12 hours, he would command the Mina Park on its maiden voyage, a diplomatic tour of every major world in the reformed conclave. His crew was unique in galactic history, 40 humans and 20 aliens from 10 different species. The first, truly mixed crew on any vessel. Captain, his first officer said quietly, message from Admiral Park. We're cleared for final systems check. Jun nodded. Begin pre-launch protocols. As his crew moved efficiently around him, Jun reflected on the extraordinary changes of the past year. The conclave had been transformed from an exclusive club dominated by a few powerful species to a genuine forum for all. The High Council now included representatives from 15 species, with Earth holding a permanent seat. The new justice protocols that Ambassador Kang had demanded were working well. 3 interspecies disputes had been resolved peacefully under the new system. The weapons inspections had uncovered and eliminated research programs targeting 12 different species, not just humans. In academies across the galaxy, xenopolitical, studies now included mandatory courses on human history and ethics. Particular attention was paid to humanity's unique development, how a species could be simultaneously capable of great violence and deeply committed to peace. The Ryul and Terok, once the dominant military powers, had been humbled but not destroyed. Their new governments were proving to be surprisingly cooperative, perhaps understanding that their survival depended on peaceful integration into the new order. As Captain Jun Li prepared the Mina Park for its maiden voyage, he reflected on how swiftly the galaxy had learned its lesson. Humans value peace, but they ensure justice, instantly and absolutely. His communication officer turned from her station. "Captain, we're receiving greetings from all vessels in orbit. They wish to escort us to the edge of the solar system." June smiled. "Accept with thanks, and prepare a special transmission to the Veldari ship." "Sir?" "A personal message to an aide, named Hana. Tell her that her investment in the future paid remarkable dividends." Jun settled into his command chair, watching as his mixed crew worked together seamlessly. Ambassador Mina Park had died seeking humanity's place among the stars. Because of her sacrifice and Earth's response, that place was now secure. The Mina Park's engines hummed to life. Jun gave the order that would begin humanity's new era among the stars. "Take us out. Standard speed. Let everyone see us clearly. No more hiding. No more concealment." Humanity had found its voice in the galaxy, and the galaxy was finally ready to listen.